And there you go. That is Pete Thelen, who is here to talk with us. Pete, come on in. Say hello.
How you doing, David? And by the way, welcome back. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for joining us here. We love meeting new artists, and you've never been on the show, so that qualifies you. And we are just happy as heck to have you here. And it's John was kidding with me off mic there when the song was on. This seems to be Ethereal Day so far, and that one does have a rather interesting ethereal feel to it. And if you listen to it, you kind of get the sense of the feeling. But how did you come up with that sound?
Well, the band I played with for 25 years plus, the Blues Dinosaurs out of Tempe, Arizona. We decided we decided to take a little holiday and go down to New Orleans for 4 or 5 days. And so we chose to go the week before Mardi Gras.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, believe me, David, it was fabulous. Everybody was getting ready, and so the floats were, pretty visible and everything, but everybody was still working last minute on the floats and all that.
Sure.
We happened to snag just an incredible room at the Bourbon Orleans Hotel, which has the balcony, which you probably all seen on the news, where they throw beads and flash things. And so I was sitting out there the first night, and I watched this fellow under the streetlight on the corner of Bourbon Street. And people would stop by, and they looked like they picked something up or whatever, and then moved on. And I thought, this is really quite bold. But to find out that I did go over and introduce myself, and he happened to be the Voodoo King of New Orleans. And what he was doing, David, he was selling potions. Other than you might think he was selling. And so little vials of your mind can wander there. But
just a touch.
But, so they were little vials of potions that he had certain clients come by for whatever reasons. And it was just brilliant. So the next day, we were on Bourbon Street, of course, and going to all the clubs and listening to all the bands we could and sitting in when we could. And I'd run into him 2-3 times a day. And so that's where it all came from, meeting the Voodoo King of New Orleans, and that's who I wrote the song about.
That is a wonderful story, and it definitely explains how you created the sound of the tune, and it also, you just got the feel of it. You definitely did. Now, I'm going to backtrack here just a little bit before I let John Bon Jovial jump in, because I can see he's antsy to get in and ask a question. He probably wants to know if you've got one of those vials handy. But I wanted to know, since you are new on the show, you've never been here before, tell us a little bit about who Pete Thelen is, where he came from, and how he got to where he is today.
Oh, my goodness sake. This is a long journey, guys. Well, I was born in Chicago in 1949, so that'll tell you I'm 71 years old. I've been writing music, playing music, living music for years. And my goodness, boy, it's hard to not be, born around the city of Chicago and not get a little hit of the blues somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
I was very, very fortunate, and I fell in love with the music in general, but certainly the blues was pretty close, near and dear to my heart. So So as I mentioned, I played with the Blues Dinosaurs out of Tempe, Arizona for 25 plus years. Gosh, I'm lucky to play with some great musicians throughout the years. I've been even more fortunate, which is, it's really to have some of these musicians record my songs, and I got to tell you, it's a feeling that I hope that every songwriter gets to feel someday. It's just
you have definitely captured the feeling, and you've put your own touch on it, your own signature. You've got your own style, and it definitely shows your experience has paid off over the years. And I should mention that our next guest today is also a blues artist. She's originally from the UK, from England. She's now living in France, and she's going to be belting out some of her style of blues on the second half of the show. That's Kaz Hawkins. But John Bon Jovial, I know you wanted to get in here. Come on in, and we'll give you 30 seconds or so.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back.
Yeah, Pete, first of all,
back,
thank you. Pete, first of all, welcome to the show. We're awfully thrilled that you're here. You're talking about the Voodoo King, and of course, the first thing that I thought of was the Searchers and Love Potion number 9, but that's going back a few years.
Yeah.
Well, you see, now we're older than that. We remember the original version before the Searchers.
Yeah, but it's one of these things, this particular piece of music, that I think you've captured the essence of New Orleans in just an absolutely capital way. I love New Orleans. It's a great town. It's God's gift to fine dining as far as I'm concerned, and also probably activities that you don't want to tell your family about. I went to the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
John, people have asked me, because believe me, I've spent a lot of time in New Orleans and the state of Louisiana. And New Orleans, to me, it's a feast for all the senses.
Indeed it is. It truly is. And, I've been to the Mardi Gras a couple of times, and, people ask me that have never been, what's the Mardi Gras like? And the only answer that I can give them is that it's the biggest, best, and fastest party I've ever been to in my life. Now, granted, I have not been since the early 80s, but... and I'm sure that things have become a little bit more politically correct now, which is always kind of a shame.
Yeah, sure. Right.
But yeah. I want to get back to
Mardi Gras, politically correct.
Yeah, I want to get back to the music, for just a second. Well, this is the first time I've heard this song. Dave purposely does not let me listen to the music until we're actually on doing the show, because that way I can give an honest opinion of it. And I really do like the ethereal nature of it, and it does, having been to New Orleans as many times as I have, captures the essence of it. But since this is the only song of yours that I've heard thus far, what kind of music are you into? What is this typical of what you do? And if so, why? And I don't mean that in a negative fashion. Please don't take it that way.
Yeah, no, John, a lot of my albums that you go through, I titled them Blues Today. And I've done Blues Today, Volume 1, 2, 3, so on. It's basically, John, my interpretation of the blues in my lifetime. And this Voodoo King is just a facet of it. No, believe me, this is not, maybe one or two other songs that I do are, kind of this scenario or this situation. But no, a lot of my things are just straight up ahead blues.
Well, I will very much look forward to listening to that.
Now, Pete, you obviously have been around a little while. You've had a little experience getting to where you are today. 25 years with one group is quite an accomplishment in itself in this business. But where are you going now? I mean, obviously you're at a different stage in life. You're not you're not a teenager trying to party down and raise hell and maybe sell a few records. But what are you looking? What's the next step in Pete Thelen's story?
Well, David, I titled this last album, that this is best for last, and really I'm going to continue playing on for charity, for different charitable organizations. I'm in the process right now of starting my own nonprofit.
Oh,
so that's with the attorneys right now. They're writing up the bylaws and so on and so forth. But, yeah, there's some people out there that I want to help if I can. And so that's really where I'm at now. I look forward to, I've played really up until, obviously the epidemic, and all my gigs were canceled,
Sure.
So, it's just time to take a look at things, and I think this is a great time right now to move ahead with my nonprofit, my family's nonprofit.
Oh, definitely, and please keep in touch with us. One, we like to keep in touch with our guests, know where they're going, and follow them. And in this particular case, we'd like to know about the nonprofit, how that's going for you and everything. So please do keep in touch. And for our listeners to keep in touch with you, how do they find you online?
Well, they can just go to pete-thelen.com, and that'll do it. They can go on, obviously, YouTube and see my latest video. I saved my one music video until this year. So
hey.
You can go out and see that. It's called, the song is actually Thought Passing Through. And so, yeah, that's a brand new video, and it's my one and only.
Well, we will definitely be looking for that, and I want to be sure, thank you, John Bon Jovi, I want to be sure and tell the listeners how to spell your last name. It's T as in Thomas, Hielen as in Nancy, Thelen, okay?
Actually, but no I. In other words, the best
no I?
Yeah, it's Helen with a T.
Oh, my gosh, okay. I don't know where I got that I from. I don't think it was Doug. Doug is very good at...
It's a very common spelling, David, not to worry.
Well, I want to be sure our listeners know that it is the word Helen with a T in front of it, Thelen. Pete Thelen, thank you so much for being here with us today, for sharing your story, and we'll look forward to you coming back and seeing us again, and maybe tell us a little bit more about your nonprofit when you've got it up and running.
That'd be great. David and John, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. And just have a great evening.
And you too. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Pete Thelen. Here's a track called Lost and Found.
You poured a cup of coffee, I opened up a beer. I'm headed for Chicago and you're leaving for LA. You know I can't put my finger on it, I just can't say. But I believe my sweet darling, we're drifting away. You're living upstairs, I'm staying down. No more fingers